What's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here with the Shackcast episode number 43. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today, so make sure to hit that follow button, subscribe to the channel. Definitely, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are available, definitely follow the podcast so you can keep up with more episodes. Big things to talk about this week. GTA 6 announcement, Destiny 2 content, Starfield reviews, my review of the Marvels, and much more gaming news that we're going to be talking about today. Remember that the best way to support the channel is to sign up for a membership on the YouTube channel. Members get exclusive channel badges to highlight their continued support over the months and years. As a member, you get access to special emojis expressing a variety of emotions and support for the channel. Members will also receive photo and status updates, early access to select videos, and at higher tiers, access to a members-only Discord channel. Your support is what keeps the Shackcast photography blog and the YouTube channel going. Please like and share the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on a video or a Shackcast episode. Thank you for tuning in. But let's dig in because I got the first thing, and I'm going to pull it up on screen for those of you that are visual and like to see stuff. If not, I will happily describe what's going on here. So the first thing we have is that Rockstar Games has tweeted that Trailer 1 for GTA 6, which is said to take place in Vice City, is to come out on Tuesday, December the 5th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So that would be 8 a.m. Central Time for me, and that would be like 6 a.m. For those of you on the Pacific Coast. I said I'm so excited for this, can't wait to see it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below about the GTA 6 trailer. There's really not much we know that's like official. I mean, I think some things have kind of said that there's a male character and a female character and that they're brother and sister and we'll be able to switch between them. But who knows what's really going to happen or how it's going to work. You know, it's all stuff that Rockstar is engineering here. But what we do know is that it has been 10 years since Grand Theft Auto 5 launched. So they've had a long time to like really figure out like what is the next iteration of GTA Online and what can they do with what they learned from GTA 5's like story and the way it evolved and switching characters and stuff like that. And the lessons learned from Red Dead Redemption 2, the controls, the immersion of that game. How can they bring that forward into this new title? I'm excited. And as always, I'm going to have links to everything I'm talking about in the description down below. You can find the links from this episode, and then everything should be neatly in order there. Next thing I want to talk about is a lot of things that us Call of Duty fans have been discussing. Is that as we've been playing Modern Warfare 3, we said, well, where's DMZ? The DMZ mode is not nowhere to be seen, right? So it's been replaced by MWZ, which is Modern Warfare Zombies, which is an open world PvE, which means player versus everyone. There's no PvP. It's just a bunch of players get dropped in. You're in teams of 3. You can meet up with other teams of 3 and assimilate or work together, or you could rescue other players, and you don't have to worry about getting shot by other players while you're being kind to one another. So I actually really like the mode. The zombies are interesting and stressful to fight. There's also, if you press down on the D-pad, I believe it puts you in third-person mode, which is kind of cool when you're, equipping your favorite operators and stuff. But the big news here is that finally Call of Duty Infinity Ward, more specifically, has talked about what the future of DMZ is. So what they say here is that we would like to thank the entire community for their support and continued feedback on the DMZ beta. Infinity Ward and all the development teams who contributed to the creation of DMZ are incredibly proud and delighted to see the enthusiasm and participation that you've shown since its release. And to see so many players pouring into the MWZ mode in Modern Warfare 3, which has many DMZ-inspired gameplay aspects within it. Beginning next week with the launch of Season 1, which is Season 1 of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, to be specific, DMZ players can continue the mode via the Call of Duty Warzone section of the Call of Duty HQ, which means basically there's one app that you open right now. You open the Call of Duty app, and you can access Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, you can access Warzone, you can access MWZ, and you can also access DMZ, whatever else, okay? The DMZ beta, which, yes, this has been a beta the entire time, will remain fully playable across all current DMZ content, including Al Mazrah, Ashika Island, the Koshi Complex, Building 21, Vondel, as well as all DMZ missions. The mode will not be available to interact directly within Modern Warfare 3 or Call of Duty Warzone, which means that progression and any new Modern Warfare 3 or Warzone content, including Battle Pass store bundles, will not sync or carry back to this DMZ mode. Also, all DMZ progress will not apply to new Battle Passes beginning with Season 1. So what does this mean? It's a lot of technical jargon, but basically it means you can't bring your Modern Warfare 3 weapons into DMZ and level them up and use them in this mode. You're kind of going to be stuck in the Modern Warfare 2 ecosystem with whatever characters and weapons are available there. And so any future content that you may buy that might be usable in both games, not necessarily going to apply to DMZ. So, I mean, basically it's them saying like, hey, we're leaving this mode behind, but we understand that it's very popular and players love it. And so we're going to keep it up. We're not going to shut it down. But yeah, you're not going to be able to level up your battle pass by playing DMZ anymore. You're going to have to play MWZ or play multiplayer on Modern Warfare 3, you know, all that stuff, right? We recognize that not having cross progression with Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone may be frustrating for some players, but we felt now was the time to take all the learnings from the beta that we could apply toward future development efforts as we evolve this style of play. We also know that many players still enjoy the mode and want to ensure that everybody can keep playing, which is why we're keeping a variety of content available. Going forward, development teams will continue to evolve these dynamic open-world experiences into the future. We look forward to sharing updates when ready. So, I mean, what this tells me is that maybe the next Infinity Ward game might include a DMZ mode. I think probably this MWZ mode is sort of, you know, another development team saying, you know, okay, you know, we're not really wanting to pick up the pieces and continue with what DMZ has done, but we could take what that has built, and since we enjoy making zombie experiences, let's make MWZ. And it ends up being really fun, but yeah, there is a certain place in my heart that really misses the DMZ experience. Let's move on. Next topic that I have here is that Destiny 2 Season of the Wish has started, which this is actually interesting. There's a lot of things going on here, but one of the things that is happening is that there is a Witcher crossover with the Destiny world. So if you're familiar with the Witcher books, video games, TV series, whatever it may be, the big deal here is that the door to the Pale Heart remains locked, and in the wake of our endeavor with the Hive, an ancient mystery turns our gaze to the Dreaming City, to the last of the Ahamkara, and to the place of the 15th wish. The key to the Pale Heart cannot be taken, it must be granted. So yeah, there's a new 3-player match-made activity that's in Destiny 2 called Riven's Lair. And at the brink of extinction, the only remaining eggs of the wish-granting Ahamkara, which is a dragon, lie deep beneath the Dreaming City. In exchange for our help in rescuing the last of her species, Riven promises to grant us a single wish. So, really cool stuff. I was really enjoying going back into this mode. Um, exotic weapon, the Wish Keeper. Okay. You got the Wish Bearer, um, bungee medal that you can work toward unlocking. And here on screen, Bungie and CD Projekt Red have come together to make these awesome outfits here. They're available for the Hunter, the Titan, and the Warlock, and heavily inspired by Geralt's outfits. And yeah, some other stuff that I have on screen here, the seasonal armor set and the ornaments for them. The Season Pass exotic is the Dragon's Breath, new seasonal weapons, and then, of course, the Undying weapons, which were these, like, overgrown Vex weapons, are actually back in the game as well. And then, yeah, it looks like we're going to have some cool stuff when Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris rolls around. There's several guns, like a competitive pulse rifle there that's in PvP. Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff, as well as the fact that they are testing a new feature in the game. This is the Fireteam Finder beta test. And basically what this is going to allow people to do is to make matchmaking a little easier for when you're trying to do raids or dungeons or pretty much any of the more challenging activities that exist in the game. The game already has matchmaking for most stuff, but they haven't really had like an in-game LFG type thing where you could sort of figure out, okay, we're looking for like a casual playthrough of the raid, or hey, it's my first time, I need someone to guide me through the raid. Or you could say, hey, I'm a raid veteran, I'm looking to guide some noobs through the raid this weekend, and you just kind of input that data and figure out how to team up together. So this is going to be big for people that struggle, you know, finding friends, or you're kind of a solo player, or maybe you have some friends but you don't have enough for a full raid crew, and you want to find some people that are kind of like you know, they're either fun or they're agreeable or kind or patient, you know, all these various things. So very exciting stuff coming up for Destiny there. The other thing is that a new dungeon has dropped today. This is called Warlord's Ruin. In an ancient fortress, occult hordes Ahamkara remains. They're rumored to speak to their captors, breach the fortress, and prevent a dangerous influence from spreading. And this is, I'm going to actually, yeah, I'm going to mute the music. But if you want to see it on screen, this is going to be the new dungeon that we're going into. Very excited about this. I think dungeons are really great. It's a 3-player activity, and it's almost like a mini raid. Like, you really get to sort of experience a lot of what raids are like, and the mechanics and the stories and the wonder and the mystery of, you know, going into a new area and trying to sort of figure out, like, you know, what are the mechanics of this room? How do we survive this encounter? You know, all that stuff. You can go to destinythegame.com for more details on all this. There's also a trailer. I've provided links to those in the description down below. Next, I have the Starfield developer has actually been talking about the developer of Starfield, which is Bethesda, has actually been responding to negative Starfield Steam reviews. And I mean, there's really not much reason why I want to highlight this. I just think it's like newsworthy or interesting. I mean, it's not something we typically see, but a lot of games can live and die by their review scores, their Steam reviews. Sometimes Metascore really sort of dictates whether a game, you know, sinks or swims. And so some of their comments, I'll read out some of their comments because they're not really that crazy, right? Let's see. If a user says the game is boring with empty planets, Bethesda responds and says, "We appreciate you taking the time to provide your review, and sorry to hear that you did not enjoy your time in Starfield. If you feel that things are getting boring, there's so much more to do than the main mission. Some of Starfield's planets are meant to be empty by design, but that's not boring. Some planets, you know, in my experience, are like arid or uninhabitable, or they're empty for a reason, right? Because they're either not accommodating towards life, or they're dangerous, or, whatever it can be. So it says, when the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there. They certainly weren't bored. The intention of Starfield's exploration is to evoke a feeling of smallness in players and make you feel overwhelmed. You can continue to explore and find worlds that do have resources you need or hidden outposts to look through. And I think they're right. I mean, do they need to go on to every Steam review and argue with them? No. But I don't feel like they're arguing or like fiercely defending their game in a way that is wrong or whatever it may be. And obviously they probably have some sort of like a team that's handling these sort of public relations things, whether it's responding to reviews or, being on Twitter and being a presence there and, responding to bugs and glitches and, complaints and stuff like that and trying to address that. They've also said that our team is constantly working to ensure that Starfield is fun and polished. Take time to explore the planets, paraphrasing a little bit. Build your own outposts and starships. Customize them to your enjoyment. Explore, roleplay. There are many things to do and explore. There are so many layers to Starfield that you will find things you've never known were possible after playing for hundreds of hours. And I can speak on that myself. Even after completing the main story, your adventure doesn't end. You can continue into New Game Plus and keep exploring Starfield and all that is out there. We are still actively working on the game and will be for a long time yet to come. Let's see. I think there was another review here. People saying go buy Cyberpunk instead, which is, just kind of weird and rude. I mean, they're both great games. You can buy them. Let's see. You can fly, you can shoot, you can mine, you can loot. Starfield's an RPG with hundreds of hours of quests to complete and characters to meet. More quests will also vary on your character's skills and decisions, massively changing the outcome of your playthrough. Try creating different characters with backgrounds and characteristics that clash or are a positive to your previous character. You'll feel like you're playing a totally different game. Put points in different skills from a character you've previously created, and you are now faced with completely different decisions to make and difficulties to encounter. I think they're right on this too. So, I mean, I don't see anything crazy here. I probably see this being the future of people, sharing their thoughts about a game and maybe not completely having spent enough time or don't have enough knowledge. And this is the developer kind of kindly stepping in and saying, well, actually, if you do blah, 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 then you can enjoy the game. Or, hey, we've made sure to look at your concerns, and I want to let you know that this option here is available. I don't think it's crazy because I think that feedback is necessary. It's a little weird to respond to reviews. I can see that because usually developers just take that information in and then they choose what they want to address and what they want to work with and try to improve based on feedback. But when they sort of give their feedback back at the player, I think people get offended very quickly, or they're like, oh, wow, I mean, do you guys not have anything else to do but reply to our reviews? But I don't think that's true. I think this is coming from a place of like, we're appreciative of your review. We're sorry if you didn't have a great experience, but like, let us, inform you on what's going on here. So that's what I got on Starfield. Next, I want to highlight this because we had a great time streaming this earlier this week. This is, I have a link here to my tweet on first impressions of Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. I will mention that this was a hashtag ad, like a sponsored stream, because Rainmaker.gg, the developer Free Range Games, and publisher North Beach Games provide a code for me to cover and review the game on the channel. So I've done some first impressions, and I'm going to play the game some more. I have some friends that are going to get into it, and we'll do some more coverage, and if more content releases over time, we'll cover that as well. But yeah, looking forward to like a full playthrough of this because I really enjoyed the game. And I want to share what I said here. Had a blast today delivering my first impressions of the Lord of the Rings Return to Moria today. Here's a dwarf I created along with his backstory. I had a good time immersing myself in the lore of the world, my footsteps echoing on the stone, my leather bags and my metal gear clinking as I walked the hallowed halls of Khazad-dûm. And so I picked, this is the dwarf I created. I pulled him up on screen. You know, he's brown, long hair, big, long beard and mustache. And he's kind of got these like metal coins and various things braided into his beard. And he's got this leather belt and these satchels hanging from it. And what's really cool is that like as you're walking, you're like hearing that leather shuffle and you're hearing those metal clinks, metal chains and just all these metal clasps that are holding all your bags on. You're hearing it clink and you're hearing your leather boots, those footsteps on the stone as you're walking through, and you just kind of hear it echo, and it's really beautiful. Like, I have to say, I was not expecting what this game was, and it ended up being really good. But yeah, you can create your own dwarf, your own voice, whatever gender you want. You can customize them, and then you can set their origin, which I chose that my dwarf comes from the Glittering Caves, which it says located behind the Hornburg in Rohan. The Glittering Caves is a new dwarven colony established in the 4th Age by Lord Gimli Lockbearer and other dwarves from Erebor. They have also been helping restore Gondor and Rohan. So I thought that was a really cool story, like a backstory for my dwarf to have, to be responsible for that, and then venturing into the mines of Moria to take back the dwarven homeland from the monsters and stuff like that. So it's a survival, crafting, and mining game. It's got really good controller support. I've been playing it because they sent me a code on the Epic Game Store. So that's where I have it installed, and I've been playing it on there. It's been a real blast, and I think it speaks to a wider conversation that was kind of happening on Twitter this week. You may not have all seen it, but there was this sort of ongoing conversation of like, well, I mean, if people are like sent review copies of games or gear or whatever it may be, like how can we trust that their review will be unbiased? Well, I always label all my content #ad. I let people know like where the code's coming from, who provided it, and it doesn't affect my thoughts. I've spoken to a lot of developers, publishers, PR teams that are running these types of things, and I've spoken to other creators that have done, sponsored content like this before, whether it's having someone sponsor a video directly or like an ad or a code has been sent to review or cover the game on the channel, which I sort of do all these things, and then I'll do like a written review on my website, aaronshack.com, link in the description on that. But yeah, of the people that I've talked to in the space, when I've talked to developers and PR teams and all these various things that are running these campaigns, they've all said, we want you to be honest. Like, if you don't like the game, like, we're giving you the code because we believe, in your assessment, we believe in your channel, we believe in your point of view. Obviously, it would be nice if you gave us a glowing review. Everybody wants the game to do well. Nobody ever makes a game with the intention of like, oh, I hope this game's horrible. Like, that's just not true, right? Like, nobody makes something bad intentionally. But I am free to give my own opinion one way or the other. And if I choose to quit covering a game, it's kind of been made clear in the space, like, you should try to do your research and make sure that you're probably going to enjoy the game, or at least give it a fair shake on covering enough that you can make a review and that you've honored your end of the deal. But yeah, they've always said that it's really important that you be honest and fair and true, both to your audience, your viewers, your listeners, all these things. And so that's just me kind of reiterating it in case there was any doubt, because I have gotten products, I have gotten codes and stuff for free, and YouTube does require that we put a disclaimer, but I do that anyway, no matter where I'm posting, whether it's Twitter, whatever websites I'm posting, I'm always making that clear so that you guys know. But that does not affect my opinion. As you know, I don't do hate reviews, but I do sort of explain whether a game is for me or not for me, or like if it wasn't for me, I could sort of explain like who might enjoy this, without like trashing the game and trying to get it canceled and all these various things that other people try to do. I think that wades into a very toxic space. But I'm free to give my honest thoughts, as I would with any game I cover on the channel. So very important there. Check out my merch store on Spring. Link is in the description. You'll find apparel, homeware, accessories, pet stuff, and drinkware, all designed around my brand. I'm proud to sport this stuff myself, and I know you will enjoy it as much as I do. Profits from the merch store support the podcast and the YouTube channel. Take a look and see if anything suits you. I have a wide arrangement of colors and sizes, with many designs being rotated in constantly. Listen to the podcast and check in regularly for coupon codes. Thank you for your support. Moving on to the next topic I have here. PlayStation has announced the PlayStation Plus monthly games for December, and they are Lego 2K Drive, Power Wash Simulator, and indie game Sable, which I've actually covered Sable on the channel. I did play the demo. I believe that was a part of Steam Next Fest. So definitely, if you have any questions, concerns, or you just want to see some gameplay or my thoughts before you download it, it's free. I mean, as long as you have the PlayStation Plus membership there, you can download these. Myself, I am looking forward to Lego 2K Drive the most. This is a Lego racing game that I've been really excited to get into. And I commented here, I said, solid set of games, looking to go for a drive, though. And then I put the Lego movie character driving there, and looks like some people liked it and thought it was kind of funny. So I don't think every single PlayStation Plus, monthly games are going to be like amazing, or games that you don't already own. I feel like a lot of the time they are games that I own, and I think people are expecting AAA releases to show up here like every single month, and it's like, it's unrealistic. There's not that many games in that sense. Like, God of War Ragnarok isn't going to show up as a free game anytime soon. So having your expectations properly calibrated would make more sense here. But yeah, every now and then you're going to see like a game that you might enjoy, or maybe something you've never played, like Power Wash Simulator, and maybe you play it and you end up enjoying it, and you're like, wow, I would have never thought to have tried this. So open yourself up to new experiences, and I think you might just find something for you. Next thing I wanted to advertise was I do have a new blog post on the website, aaronshack.com. I did a photography blog post here, and I exclusively used my new Google phone, the Pixel 8 Pro, and this thing has a fantastic camera on it. And actually, the Pixel team actually commented on my post here, and they said that the photos were really good, and I was really pleased. A lot of the photos came out great. Definitely check out my photography blog to get a closer glimpse at these peacocks, which can jump. They can kind of sort of glide, not really fly. But yeah, I got some really excellent photos, and I was just messing around with, different angles and, different times of day as it was sort of, getting into the golden hour and late evening. Definitely check out the photography blog. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next big thing, before I talk about the Marvels, I actually want to talk about this tweet here, because this was brought up by profile on Twitter called MCU The Direct, and they said exclusive. Miss Marvel star Iman Vellani has addressed how the MCU could once again generate Avengers Endgame level fan hype. She said, I don't know if it's just about getting bigger. It's about making the audience care about her characters. Now, about their characters. So you can click the link there in the tweet, and she goes a little deeper into it. But what I wanted to say, and what a lot of people seem to resonate with, is I said, hey, she's 100% right. The MCU has ditched character-driven movies for cameo fests and fan service over quality standalone films. Now, people got offended, and I'll explain, in more detail, like what I mean and how people took it and whatever. But it seems like a lot of people liked it and got some comments, got some retweets, fine. But what I mean here is that character-driven movies, think about like Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Think about the first Thor movie. These are character-driven films, even the Iron Man films, right? And when we let's just look at Thor, because it's very simple. Thor 2012, right? So Thor is this brash warrior demigod, right? And he's battling in Niflheim. He's kicking ass, taking names. He knows he's going to be the next king. He's going to replace Odin's son as king of Asgard someday. And so, he's real brash. He's overconfident. He's kind of a jerk. But what a character-driven story does is that the character learns a lesson. He learned a lesson about his ego. He learned about all these various things. He went out and he was seeking war, because war is like entertainment to these gods. They enjoy going out there and battling other realms and stuff like that, and being the dominant force within the 9 realms, right? And so Odin strips him of the hammer and his armor and the power that makes him Thor, and banishes him to Earth, right? So, I mean, that's a big moment. That's him being sent from hero to zero, right? And so the whole movie is about him realizing his mistake and learning to be the hero that he should be, and learning to be worthy to wield the hammer Mjolnir, worthy to be the king of Asgard someday. So that is a character-driven film, right? That is a strong narrative. There's character development, and it's specifically about him. It's not about cameos. It's not about furthering, the universe or leading into the next movie. Of course, there's always a scene at the end of the movie that says like, next time, in the next film, or leading up to an Avengers film, right? But Marvel has done this several times where they've had really strong character-driven films, and we can talk about like which ones are the best, or like which ones really are character-driven, because not all of them are, to be completely honest. And it's not that every film needs to be, but there's a strong bond that is built there. And that's what led up to the first Avengers film, was they focused on each character. They focused on Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, right? They focused on these core characters and made us care about them, so when they put them all together, we would care about all of them, and we were excited to see them all interact together. Now, if you don't do that, then, this next Avengers film that we're going to have, it's going to have a bunch of the young Avengers, and no one's going to care about them, because it's like, well, we didn't really identify with them, or we didn't really see any character growth, or they didn't learn anything in their previous films, or they didn't have a previous film, whatever it may be. So my next comment was sort of a response to a lot of the, a lot of people that might have been like, what do you mean? And I said, there's no time for character development when movies are CGI fests full of nonstop action scenes. The characters hardly have any dialogue, and that is a little bit of a critique I have on the Marvels, but we'll get into that soon. The small moments matter, and the MCU is running off a formula at this point and forgetting the art of filmmaking. It's why movies like Oppenheimer and even Barbie are more refreshing at the moment, because the stakes are real. You form bonds with the characters because you get to know them, right? Oppenheimer and Barbie, you spend a lot of time with each character that's on screen. You get to know their motivations, their thoughts, their feelings, and you watch them make mistakes. You watch them do horrible things to each other sometimes. You watch them be kind to each other. You watch them care about each other, and you form those bonds, right? With the MCU, it's just some clever quips and jokes before the next fight, or how many cameos and clever comic references you can cram in. The comics are rich with lore, dialogue, storytelling, world building. I mean, there's whole comic book storylines like Secret Wars, the Infinity Saga, the Civil War stuff. Like, there's so much for these movies to pull from. It's time for the movies to reference that. The Avengers movies have been great. I can't think of many movies that have as much character development as Captain America the Winter Soldier, Thor 2012, WandaVision, Doctor Strange, and the Iron Man trilogy are great examples. So, I mean, if that doesn't really prove my point, I kind of don't know what else to say on that topic. But I want to see, I'm critiquing this not because I'm a hater. I'm critiquing it because I do want to see Marvel films continue to get better, and I want the same for DC as well. I like these strong, character-driven films, and I feel like She-Hulk and some other films didn't really have character growth. Like, She-Hulk was just magically mastered her powers, and she was already more powerful than Hulk, and her show was about making her tougher than the Hulk and stronger than him, and she is just because she's a woman. Like, there was a clear, like, feminist propaganda woke agenda happening there, and it was like people didn't like that. And the thing is, She-Hulk is this strong feminist icon, and that's a good thing. Like, I'm not anti-feminist here, but it's like we need to be, the character is strong, but she learns to be strong, but she doesn't have to push down her male cohorts in order to be strong, because she's powerful. She comes into that power, and she has to learn to harness it, the anger, the strength, all of that, you know, in the same way that Bruce Banner had to learn to juggle the anger and the power and the strength that he has and the responsibility to wield that carefully. And so she, you know, has the duty to do the same thing. And so I think if they had done that and sort of allowed her to go through this journey of growth and development, that we would have all felt closer to her, and it wouldn't have felt like such a propaganda type thing and like a big obvious girl power moment. Now, let's talk about the Marvels. If you don't want to have spoilers on this, just skip, you know, ahead or come back later. But I really enjoyed the Marvels. I'll say that. I think I really enjoyed Captain Marvel, and I was looking forward to some sort of sequel or follow-up there. I think the Miss Marvel TV show was okay. I think the Marvel's Avengers video game did more justice to Miss Marvel and her storyline, her coming of age, discovering her powers. I think the problem with the Miss Marvel show was that they gave her construct powers like she's a Green Lantern, as opposed to giving her big, stretchy, polymorphic energy, because they were worried that we would confuse her with Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four, which is just like, we're not that dumb. Like, the audience isn't that stupid. So they've made her, rather than an Inhuman, they've actually made her a member of the X-Men now. She's actually a mutant, technically. Maybe not a member of the X-Men yet, but I mean, you know, she's a mutant, technically. So we'll go from there. I think the three characters are really strong. Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Monica Rambeau. It's really cool to see them all get together. It's a female-led cast with a female villain, female director. It's a strong film, and it doesn't come across like She-Hulk and other films have, with sort of like a very feminist angle to them. Like, they're all strong, they're all independent, they're badass, but the thing is here is that they have to learn to work together as a team in order to overcome this threat. So egos have to be balanced, they have to learn to work together, because every time they use their powers, they essentially switch places with each other. So if Miss Marvel uses her powers, all of a sudden she gets warped where Captain Marvel is, and then Captain Marvel gets warped to where she is. And so they have to sort of work together and juggle what they're doing. And so I think the movie was good. Um, there is the musical scene that I thought was just awesome and hilarious and interesting. The fight scenes are really dope for each of the characters, but it felt like because they couldn't really use their powers, quote unquote, they it didn't feel like we didn't get to see anyone cut loose and really have like big powerful fights. Like Captain Marvel was never able to use her photon power of the sun, just like blast enemies a lot. She wasn't able to go supernova, all that kind of stuff. Because if she did, it would instantly change her with one of the others. But we got to see some Miss Marvel, like stretchy constructs and fights, and we got to see Monica, utilize a lot of her powers. So I mean, it was really more of fight scenes as opposed to like anyone using their powers. So it was just kind of weird watching Captain Marvel just like, kick off the walls and punch and kick people and not really do a whole lot of powers. But I think it was really cool seeing like these older superheroes interact with this young girl as a superhero, and then seeing Nick Fury in the middle of it, and then of course the little cat. I love the cat, so cute. There were so many cute scenes that just had us all going, "Aw, so sweet." Um, but yeah, I think in that sense, a lot of that was really interesting and really strong. I think some of the last things that I want to mention here um, are that like the way the movie ended, some of the final scenes, which had Monica Rambeau traverse into the multiverse. She went through like a crack in the multiverse and closed it from the other side, which means she ended up in a new universe. And it ended up being the X-Men, the Bryan Singer X-Men led films from the early 2000s. And she ends up meeting Beast, who is portrayed by the greatest, the GOAT, Kelsey Grammer, who is just a natural fit for Beast and some of the best casting. Is such an incredible actor. And I was just so shocked to see him back as that character. I never thought it would happen again, but there it was, and I was shocked. Now, kind of the last thing I want to talk about beyond that is the final end credits scene of Kamala going to Kate Bishop and saying, "Hey, I'm forming a team. It's the Young Avengers." It's calling back to how Nick Fury went to Iron Man at the end of the Iron Man movie and said, he's starting the Avengers Initiative, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, we know what it means because we've seen it before, but we also know what it means, right? Like a new team is being built. But I think what the problem is that, and I asked a lot of people in my community last night when we did the Avengers stream Thursday night. We like to always play Avengers on the YouTube channel Thursday nights, and we like to use that as a time to kind of rally the community, talk about Marvel and DC comics and movies and TV shows and the universe and all that. So we dig into it. And a lot of people were just like, I'll watch whatever the Young Avengers is. Like, we're going to watch all the Marvel stuff because, we're fans. We're comic book fans at our core, and we're going to continue to watch this stuff regardless. But, like, I took everyone's pulse, and everyone was just kind of saying, like, I'm not really excited for the Young Avengers. Like, I would understand maybe if some of you like to read the Young Avengers comics and you enjoy Young Avengers content, then maybe this is your moment to shine and to really enjoy all of that. But a lot of us were just kind of like, nah, I want to see, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, all these, I want to see all these other things, and I'd like to see the Marvel Universe as a whole rather than just the Young Avengers, not super excited for this new group to sort of take over. And I think the box office will probably reflect a lot of that, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's kind of how I feel about that. Not that it's going to be bad necessarily. It's just that people just might not be as invested unless you've watched the Hawkeye TV series and you've learned about Kate Bishop, or you've watched Miss Marvel and the Marvels, and you sort of built up some ties for Kamala and her character. And, we'll see as other characters are introduced in the universe, they're going to be part of this sort of young Avengers, and we got the Thunderbolts film to look forward to and stuff like that. So I don't know. It leaves it in an interesting situation. Like, I enjoyed the Marvels, and I do feel like a lot of the recent Marvel movies and shows have been kind of lackluster lately. And I think part of it's the writing, part of it's the strong female character being a trope instead of properly used. And I think I've gone into that a lot talking about She-Hulk. You can catch my live stream rants and probably previous podcast episodes where I've really done a deep dive into that. And I could potentially do some videos where I really explain it heavily if that's something you want to see. But I feel like I've talked it to death at this point, is that it shouldn't be a trope. It should be really, these characters are strong, and you shouldn't have to overemphasize it by knocking the male characters down a peg to make the female characters strong. They can both be strong and awesome and work together without stomping on one another. So I think that's important going forward, and I think that's going to dictate a lot of how well some of these movies will do in the future. But I think the Marvels, it's not the greatest, but it's kind of a return to form. It's really, it's like, oh, okay, we're on the uptrend now, like a little bit, at least a little bit. It's an enjoyable film, so highly recommend watching it. One last thing I want to talk about is that, yes, I do want to actually do a live stream where I go through the Game Awards nominations and vote on them live on stream, and just kind of let you guys know like which ones I would vote for. But I also have a link in the description down below if you want to vote. Personally, for me, Alan Wake 2 has my Game of the Year vote. But stay tuned, because I will do a live stream where we tear through this list and I cast my votes, and we'll go from there. So I want to thank you all for watching Shackcast number 43. Definitely hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on future episodes. Definitely do the same if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms so you don't miss out. But check out the YouTube. Check out aaronshack.com where I have my photography blog, everything about me, and Shackcast episodes are posted there as well. And my photography blog is there as well. And I've been doing game reviews and gaming news content on the website as well, trying to keep up with some stuff. But it's a solo run show here. So one last thing I want to sort of emphasize here is that it is your viewership, your memberships, people that have signed up for a membership on the channel, people that have purchased merch. It is through your continued funding that I'm able to do all these incredible things on the channel, whether it's, sponsored games and ads and ads in the sense of like a developer sends me a game to cover on the channel that you guys are excited about. It cuts down on some of my costs of like having to buy the game myself, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, us building up this incredible community and network that we have here at Aaron Shack here has been really powerful and really beautiful. So if you can support monetarily in any way, I would ask that you please do so, because it's what keeps everything running and keeps the podcast, the website afloat, and keeps the YouTube videos and live streams and all that coming. So once again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care, be safe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye. Remember that the best way to support the channel is to sign up for a membership on the YouTube channel. Members get exclusive channel badges to highlight their continued support over the months and years. As a member, you get access to special emojis expressing a variety of emotions and support for the channel. Members will also receive photo and status updates, early access to select videos, and at higher tiers, access to a members-only Discord channel. Your support is what keeps the Shackcast photography blog and the YouTube channel going. Please like and share the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on a video or a Shackcast episode. Thank you for tuning in. Check out my merch store on Spring. Link is in the description. You'll find apparel, homeware, accessories, pet stuff, and drinkware, all designed around my brand. I'm proud to sport this stuff myself, and I know you will enjoy it as much as I do. Profits from the merch store support the podcast and the YouTube channel. Take a look and see if anything suits you. I have a wide arrangement of colors and sizes, with many designs being rotated in constantly. Listen to the podcast and check in regularly for coupon codes. Thank you for your support.